Hey guys, it's Danny. Today we're gonna solve a mystery together, and this is the mystery of my Angraecum orchid. Do we notice anything peculiar with this pot? It's a little fluffy. Things are raised. The sphagnum moss wants to just pop out of the pot. That's bizarre, isn't it? Well, there can only be one explanation. Too many roots, right? Well, I don't know. I would not be so sure because, yeah, you don't know something. I have a bit of an ant issue in the plant room, and I lifted up this pot. Maybe I can show you. Let's try to do this again. Do we see that? Yeah, that looks like some dust made by the ants as they were digging things, as they were making their tunnels. That's how it looks to me because I had it before in pots. And yes, I did see a root as well, but what if I don't have a whole lot of roots in the pot? What if I actually have an entire ant colony in there, queen and all? I don't know. I don't know what's happening. Now, why do I just leave ants be? Because I kind of do, you guys. Well, I have been educated by my grandmother, whom I loved dearly, not to harm ants. Mind you, back there, we never actually had a problem with ants infesting the house. I don't think we have the same types of ants there. Well, in Cyprus, there is an ant problem, a very huge problem, the biggest ant problem I have ever seen. And I've been bitten so many times, I cannot even tell you. And I thought, well, if I have them here, in the grow room, you know, everything is fine. They don't bother me. They can sit here and just eat the sugar sap that comes out of my orchids. I'm fine with that. Well, I'm not extremely fine with them actually making their nest in my pots because I cannot pick up the pots, show you them without them actually attacking me and biting me. And oh boy, did I discover I have some sensitivity to ant bites. It hurts and itches like nothing else. For days. I hate ant bites. I really don't want to be bitten. So that's the backstory. I think I might have to change a little bit my attitude towards them and try to be a little bit more proactive with infestations because it's not fun. It's not fun at all. So now back to our story. I'm thinking I have an entire colony of ants here, but at the same time, I don't want to harm them. I just don't. Look at that one. I'm sorry you have to go, but I don't want to harm you. So what I want to do is take this plant on the terrace and unpot it together with you guys. So I'm going to go set up a tray and the camera and we'll see each other outside. Alrighty then, you guys. Sorry for the additional noise. It's the outside world and it's never quiet here, but let's see what we have here. Look at this. I am slightly afraid. I really hope this video will be a bust and all we have here is just roots, or at least a former ant colony, not an active one. I don't see any ants. I should see some ants, right, by now. Yeah. And I didn't want to like flood the pot or anything. Oh, thankfully it's just roots. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm so relieved. This video is a bit of a bust, but it's okay. We're just gonna title it Amazing Root Growth Pushes Orchid Out of the Pot and Scares the Heebie-Jeebies Out of the Owner. Yeah, that's gonna be a good title. Okay, so we're just gonna have to up-pot this orchid. I am going to up-pot it. At some point, if it had some ants, maybe it did. Maybe there was something here, but it's not here anymore. It's just roots. Yeah, so I potted this orchid like a year ago here. The moss is still very good. All I need to do is just put her in a bigger pot. Problem solved. So we're gonna move this thing inside. Phew, thank goodness, you guys. Thank goodness it's not ants, but I do have to take care of those ants at some point. There's an ant. There's a literal ant in the pot. Let me show you. I wasn't lying when I told you. There she is. So, there are two. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay. Need to go outside, rinse everything. Oh no. All right. Crisis averted. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not this warrior of light of sorts that wakes up in a bed of ants with 10 very painful bites. And what she does is carefully gathers all of the ants and puts them outside. No, I was like that in my first year here. When somebody would see ants on the table going to the food or the food, they would just wipe them with a wet cloth. And I would be like, no, don't harm the ants. Yeah, that was me in my first year. And everybody was like kind of giving me a little bit of an eye, but like still being polite, not understanding exactly what was up with me because, oh brother, there is an infestation of ants here. So yeah, that was me in my first year. 6th, 7th year here now, no, I've been bitten so many times. I have been invaded so many times. Things were spoiled so many times. I'm just not that person anymore. I'm not gonna carefully grab every ant and put it outside. No, I cannot. However, I'm not gonna deliberately destroy an entire colony when I have a different option. If everybody was just in here, I can easily put it outside. I don't need to look for every ant and save every ant. I'm not gonna do that. But if there is a colony in here, I'm not just gonna wipe it out. I can't, so I'm trying to find a balance. But just so you know, don't get the wrong impression about me. I'm not that good of a person, I'm a very, very, very bitten person by these ants. But anyway, didn't drown the ants, that's good. They're somewhere outside in the garden now. And I did rinse this root mass as well. I do not see any other ants in here, so that is great. I think they didn't actually make a nest. They maybe tried to, but they apparently didn't like it. So that's good, which means that we can safely up pot this orchid, meaning find a bigger pot, put it inside, not disturb any of the roots, and just continue to grow this orchid. The moss smells good, it's not broken down. I saw on the tag that I repotted this last year in May, so it's almost a year. The moss is really okay. Now, why can't I just put it back in? Well, the problem is, and maybe you noticed, all of the top layer of bark just fell. So if the growth continues, which it will continue to climb out of the pot. So the bark layer up top, it's not gonna stay up top. And I'm gonna have cyano issues if I don't cover the top, whether it's on the moss or the roots. And at some point, the roots will just go outside. And it's better in this climate for all roots to be in the medium and around that moisture, because moisture doesn't stick around much here. We're fighting for moisture here. Right, let me just find a different pot. All right, so we are going to use this pot, which is the same size as a, let's say, typical Phalaenopsis orchid pot when you purchase it. So about 13 centimeters, maybe 10, 11 inches. I'm getting better at converting, I hope. Maybe I just said something stupid. Right, so we're just gonna go again with sphagnum moss. Gonna put some moss on the bottom. Let's do a little fitting test. Perfect. I also think ants here, yeah, we're gonna talk about ants. So I also think they're a lot bigger here than in Romania, because I swear, I do not remember ever being bitten by ants as a kid, or ever, pretty much. Maybe they did bite me, but maybe I didn't have such a bad reaction to it. So I'm thinking that maybe there indeed are other types of ants here, another species that really, really pinches. Fun times. Now, when it comes to orchids, ants typically, depending on the type, but typically they don't affect the orchids, they will not eat the orchids. What they will do and what they're attracted to are those sugary sap droplets on the leaves. And actually they do a good job in taking care of excess sap. And I imagine naturally they would do that to wild orchids as well. Some orchids do have a symbiosis with ants. One of them is the gongora, but there are others as well. So there are many examples of ants actually collaborating with orchids. It's not a problem for orchids, generally speaking. It's a problem for humans sometimes. But sometimes they can actually protect pests of orchids against predators. For example, mealybugs. They can actually protect mealybugs from other predators because the mealybug, I'm trying to find a word that YouTube will like. The byproduct, you get what I'm saying, of mealybugs is sugary, so ants feed on that, as disgusting as it is. But yeah, that's why they protect them. So overall, yes, ants do not harm orchids, and in many, many cases, they can actually work in symbiosis. But in a living room, it's typically not a good collaboration for us. This is not the jungle. We are playing by different rules here, and especially if you have an allergy or something to ants, I now fully understand what you're talking about. So, in order to prevent ants, what can we do? Well, first off, what I use in my house, I don't go around spraying ants and stuff. I don't do that. An exterminator taught me something. We wanted to hire somebody to do our entire apartment because in the first and second year here, it was horrifying. The apartment has not been lived for a while, and then when we moved in, all of the ants came in the house in search for food, and we were overwhelmed and bitten and just done with everything. So we arranged a meeting with an exterminator, and because we had a parrot, he said, I'm not gonna do the house because I'm afraid something will happen to the parrot, but what you can do this yourself. It's gonna take a while, it's gonna be an effort, but the parrot will be safe. So what he told us was to go buy BioKill, which is a substance we find locally, and whenever we see ants, don't spray the ants or anything, just follow the trail because they're coming in from somewhere. And he was absolutely right. I became a very good detective in ants, in trails and stuff. I would follow them all over the house and I would find the entry point. So I would spray the entry point and that's it. So the ants would not come in anymore. And I have to say that substance, even though they say it's active for like 6 months or whatever, it's active for years. The entry points I sprayed are still good after so many years. Every year there's a new entry point, but I do see that each and every year I have less and less ants coming in the house, which is great. Luckily, these entry points are very remote and obscure, and my birds, actually I only have one bird in the house. My parrot does never go there, and also BioKill is not really all that toxic. And you can learn more about it if you Google it. I still am very, very careful and I don't use it like in my cabinets and stuff. I still prefer to have tight-fitting lids or put stuff like bread in the fridge. I still prefer to do that than to spray the cabinets and so on. And so far, I haven't had any food getting infested again, so I did good. But it's not really all that toxic, which is why I decided to go ahead and use it. You might know I don't like to use toxic stuff. I just don't feel good about it, but this I had to because it was overwhelming. Let's try to see if I can push yeah, I can. I will be pushing the sphagnum moss a little down. I'm gonna press on the pot and push the moss inside. I'm not gonna compress it or anything. I can't compress it with this bamboo skewer anyway, but I wanna make it go down because it just sits on the top. It's really hard to make sphagnum moss fall down. It's not like bark. So I need to push it a little around the roots. And this pot is very flexible, which is great. And yeah, I wanna put a little bit of moss around the roots because I have a big gap here. So I'm gonna put a little sphagnum moss here. So that's one thing that I would do. I would try to see if I can fix the entry points of ants in the house. Now, if you don't like that measure and you have some ants issues with your orchids and you just want to solve the orchids, let's do an exercise of imagination now because I don't have a tray, okay? Let's presume that this is a tray, just a tray. You put water in the tray, find something a little taller to put the orchid on top so that the orchid doesn't sit in water, but you have water around. Chances are ants will not go through that water to get to the orchid. Yes, I know they can create bridges, but maybe you don't have those types of ants. I think in a home situation, it's gonna work out and you will not have to use toxic substances of any kind. I tried all of the bio methods that I found on the internet before I called the exterminator. I tried cinnamon. Oh, they love cinnamon. I tried, what was that? Lavender essential oil and other oils sprayed, neem oil even. I tried all of these bio things people talk about on the internet. I'll tell you a little secret, and this is just for me. After trying out so many stuff throughout all of these years that I lived and had experiences, most of the stuff people talk about when they say like 5 easy ways and non-toxic ways and like bio ways of getting rid of whatever, clickbait. For me, that's how I see them. I just stopped going for them because everything I ever tried did not take care of my problem. Everything can limit or help with something, but they don't really take care of the problem. So I stopped with the clickbait because it's a waste of time. That's why in this video, I'm not telling you to go spray your house with lavender oils, especially if you have a cat. Don't use essential oils if you have a cat or a bird. Don't spray it in the air. Don't do those things because they are very sensitive to essential oils. I'm not gonna use them anymore, and that's why I'm not talking about them. I know there are people who swear by them. I'm not one, so I'm not gonna talk about them. I'm gonna talk about the stuff that I personally use, that I personally find good, and I'm confident that it will help. Right. This video turned out to be a discussion on ants, but you know what? It's okay because many people ask about ants and how to deal with them. And while they're not really a pest for the orchid, they can become a nuisance for us, and especially if you have a very bad reaction to the bite like I have. I hope the tip with the BioKill helps. I would never just go and spray on them and just, that doesn't really take care of anything. What I do now is just take care of the entry points, and I take the time to follow that trail and see where they're coming from, and I only spray one little dot there, and that's enough. That is enough. So let's put a layer of bark on top, and hopefully this pot will last you for another year, young lady, until you decide to produce even more roots. How healthy is this orchid though, right? She has done very, very well. She also bloomed, and of course, it was in a period where I was super busy and I kept postponing filming the blooms and making a spotlight, and the bloom withered off before I got a chance to film it. Typical. So next time she blooms, I will be sure to film her in her first 2-3 days, because the flower is beautiful and it's fragrant and it's absolutely fantastic. I didn't even tell you who this orchid is. Angraecum magdalenae. I'll put a tag at the very beginning of the video. We also have a price on this tag. It's 12 euros. Very good price for a beautiful, beautiful orchid. Righty guys, so with that said, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I keep seeing sphagnum moss poking out of the pot, and I keep putting more bark chips on top of it so I don't get cyano. Every little strand of moss, if it gets light, gets cyano. So that's why I'm hiding all of them. Okay, so thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Hope you enjoyed your time. It was quite the journey. I thought I would have a big ant colony in here. Turns out I didn't, which is great, fantastic. We didn't have to go through all of that, but yeah, need to take care of the ants at the plant room. Alrighty, so before I let you go, don't forget to subscribe for more videos. If you're into aquariums, check out my second channel. It's always linked down below, way down. You have to scroll through the description. And with that said, I'll see you all next time. Bye.